And Amazon is the second largest employer in the United States. But are robots going to soon be replacing the humans at Amazon? Now, a report just came out from the New York Times, and it said that Amazon aims to sell twice as many products by 2033 without adding to its U.S. workforce, translating to more than 600,000 people that Amazon doesn't need to hire. We had an exclusive interview with Amazon's chief technologist, Ty Brady, who says that humans that currently work at Amazon won't be losing their jobs to robots.
So on the speculative hiring, it's still speculation, right? But I do know this. I do know that we will continue to amplify what our employees can do by giving them the best tool set possible. That's using physical AI systems in order to create a safer environment and more productive environment for our employees.
The talk of robotics and AI use in Amazon's logistics systems comes on the heels of a massive Amazon Web Services outage, along with widespread attacks to many websites. Some Amazon customers reported disruptions in package deliveries.
It's hard to say exactly what the scale of that impact. I know that we have recovery systems that in mind, whenever something like that does happen, we can revert back to the local cloud that's inside of our building for it to look at that way. We did see a major impact across our deliveries, but we know that our customers had a major impact there and we take that really seriously.
Later on this morning, Amazon is going to be holding its Delivering the Future event here at this facility in Milpitas. They'll be unveiling new robotics as well as AI systems aimed at delivering packages. That's it.
The country's not hiding from it. I mean, they ain't hiding our cameras. This is Mafia right now. So just in San Jose, California. Thanks, Matt. Good to see you.
And the Virginia and New Jersey governor's races are tight as we enter the home stretch. Now, Democratic candidates are calling in the big guns former President Obama. That's the headline rallies in both states next week. From Eric Rose, the Watch Spread weekend this year, and I want to show you this. This is the number of Spanberger and Earl Sear now just 7 points apart. It was much more than that. And in New Jersey, it's a 5-point race. If you think about that one, how close it was 4 years ago with Citarelli, it's no wonder the Democrats feel like they got to call in the former president to help them out.
Yeah, and of course, both of these races were double digits to the favor of Democrats just a couple of weeks ago. So this is a real definite closing in both races. And a lot of people are suggesting they're having to call in Barack Obama to be the closer. Look, if Barack Obama comes in the closing weeks of every Democrat campaign, I don't think he's particularly a great closer anymore, but he's the best Democrats have. So that is significant. I think the other thing that is very significant right now is that Democrats in both of these races are plunging new money into get out the vote and last-minute ads in both of these races. And what's significant about that is that Democrats have massive, in almost all of the races in those states, Democrats have massive spending advantage over Republicans. At least 2-to-1 in both of the other races, up to 10-to-1 in some of the other races. And so the idea that you're looking at these polls, they're closing down to single digits, in some cases with just a couple of points separating them, and the fact that Democrats are feeling like they have to spend more money in both of them means that I think that they've got a couple of fights on their hands that they did not expect. And, again, big picture, in these races, first of all, they're both Democrat states, and if you look throughout history, the advantage always goes to the party that is out of power in Washington in this first off-year election. And that's particularly true in Virginia. And the idea that Republicans are at the door in Virginia at this point in the race is devastating.
Okay, so we're going to see how it rolls in. I mean, 6 weeks of early voting in Virginia, holy cow. That's an entire football season. Speaker Johnson on his thoughts on both.
What are these races in New Jersey and Virginia? What do you think they'll serve as takeaways for 2026 and midterms?
Let's see. It looks like Republicans are surging for the right reason. Charlie, he'd be right about that. We'll see how the results go. I just want to show you which Democrats are out there stumping in both states. Obama, Buttigieg, Giffords, Tim Kaine, Klobuchar, Wes Moore, Gretchen Whitmer. We could not find an invitation being sent to Joe Biden. He's got some health issues though right now too, so maybe that's a concern for him. But Kamala Harris and Tim Walz did not get an invite either. That we have found just yet, and we have no evidence just yet that either one of them will be reporting. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's such a great point, and I'm so glad you did that because it's like one of those really obvious questions that people forget to ask. But that's such an important point. You have these standard bearers who were on the ballot just 1 year ago that every single Democrat in the country was pouring every effort into solving all of their problems in this election. And you don't hear anything from any of them except for Kamala Harris who's trying to sell books. And so she's out there, but there's no indication that anybody particularly wants her. The other thing I think also kind of interesting in Virginia, you have Barack Obama coming to stump in Virginia. He's obviously endorsed Admiral Stanberger, but no endorsement for Jay Jones, who is running for Attorney General, and who has called all kinds of things for Republicans, including Stanberger, who refuses to keep him off of her ticket after those text messages in which he advocated assassinating a political opponent that he didn't like because that political opponent tried to work across the aisle. A truly extraordinary sort of bombshell. And it is amazing that Abigail Stanberger has not kicked Jay Jones to the curb. And polling right now shows that Jason Yaris, who's the current Attorney General, is in a very, very good position to hold on.
Hi, Charlie. Great to see you.
You know, we don't pay a lot of attention to the Attorney General race in a lot of states.
There's a reason.
This one we will. Thank you, Charlie.
This is really important.
Thank you, Charlie. So Corey Bowman is the Republican candidate running for mayor of the city of Cincinnati. He's also related to the vice president. He reports a bullet struck a window of the church where he serves as pastor after a threatening message was posted online. Corey Bowman is our guest who wants to be mayor. He'll join us live.
This is our chance. Tell what's going down at Royal House. Finding medical supplies and cash. I know what it is. You answer to me.
Yo.
People diagnosed with mesothelioma might have many questions. That's why we offer free for mesothelioma. Mesothelioma is really how we if it's slow too, or go to mesothelioma.com. You can get this fixed now. You can get this fixed now. And this. Fixed now, pay later, 4 interest-free payments. Living mutual talk about how Living Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you do. Yes. Huh? What happens in this one? See this? I like it. How do you? Only pay for what you need.
When you get out of the military, you kind of lose that. You find that new family. We can follow that. Not everybody can do that.
How's it going, brother?
We live pretty close to each other, so he's always coming over. When I go to Jack's house, we watch a lot of football, hang out, we go outside. The friendship is kind of growing to a family. I was focusing on the Army. I separated from my Marines, and years ago, I was training with and was instantly paralyzed. I met Jack and he invited us to Park City, Utah through his foundation. I was able to actually come out and ski with my family. I can't put into words what that meant. I got paid in the military when I was on the cars. After my accident, I was still that same guy when I was in at the beginning of the California 10,000 feet. I did it. I was talking to some vets last week, and it's amazing how we have these houses where they can come over from their repairs too. I think military developments, they love tunnels, towers, they got rid of all that. They redid my whole bathroom. That's probably the favorite part of my house. I thought they were just going to do the upgrades, but the surprise to me was they paid off the entire mortgage. When they told me they were going to pay it off, I cried. Please contribute $11 a month. Visit t2t.org.
Joining us is Dr. Drew from the Wellness Company with advice for dealing with mental
Flu season is here. Every year, your loved one gets sick. The doctor can't see you. Waiting to try to urgent care is brutal. This is a particularly radical flu season. That's why doctors suggest every family needs emergency medical kit. Your medical emergency kit is filled with essential prescriptions. It includes antibiotics, a generic CPAC to get no faster, amoxicillin for pneumonia, strep throat, ear infections, plus prescriptions for nausea and UTIs and even ivermectin. It's easy. Just match your symptoms to the prescription in your guidebook and call the telemedicine doctors anytime. Take your medication early and feel better fast. Having a medical emergency kit is like having an urgent care in your home. No waiting to see a doctor, no lines at the pharmacy.
Smart advice. We've shared the website and discount code below to save viewers $45. Order now and your kit will be rushed to your door. Thank you, doctor.
Well, unfortunately, control the list of anti-ICE violence is getting longer by the day. Chaos in Los Angeles after an illegal immigrant tried to ram an agent's car. Several of those squad cars. Homeland Security called out top Democrats by naming or banning the flames. And plus, jittery Democrats are calling in their party elites for help as Republicans are closing the gap in two bellwether races. We're watching them closely. And racist hate spewed from the left as the Republican candidate for Virginia governor is dealing with it. Winston Earl Sears joins me live to respond. Plus, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen and Brett Baer on set. The Faulkner Coat is topping me out.
When he cried front and center in the race for mayor there, the video went viral, and to show it to you, a word of caution, you know, the anniversary with the past viewers on funding survey. This is what my things are So now the city's police chief has been placed on administrative leave. That happened yesterday after questions about how she handled that incident. Her attorney called the move out of bounds.
Late yesterday, Sherry learned that she was being placed on leave from her position. There is no justification for this action. Chief Gigi has done nothing to deserve being removed from her position. The unfortunate conclusion we have to reach from these facts is that she is being used as a political scapegoat and a political pawn. Sherry deserves better than this.
So with ourselves, Corey Bowman, Republican candidate for mayor of Cincinnati. He's also the half-brother of the vice president, J.D. Vance. Corey, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming out. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. You're welcome for that. We've had your counterpart on our program several times, Aftab Duraval, and this is what the current mayor, Aftab, is saying about the current situation. He says there's no doubt that we've had some significant public safety challenges in the city throughout the summer. Obviously, the chief has been a strong partner with me in making those changes throughout the summer, but unfortunately, the violence has persisted, and so we're exploring all options of making changes. I know your town well, and the recent shooting in Fountain Square, right smack dab in the middle of the city, has gotten a lot of attention. So has the overarching issue of crime. How would you make it different, Corey?
Well, one of the biggest things we have to do is simply allow the cops to do their job. You know, this litigation that's happening between the police chief and the mayor is happening because they're saying exactly what we said all along, is that we're seeing trickle down in confidence from the mayor's office, the city manager's office, that's basically tying the hands of our officers. Let's not forget also that we're about 20% understaffed as a police force, and these are things that have to be fixed right away. And then on top of that, you have the judicial system that has a revolving door of justice that allows criminals to be on the streets sometimes a week after.
Wow. You're a businessman, right? You run a coffee shop, that's how you make a living, and you're working full time and campaigning. It can't be easy. And this can't be easy either for a Republican. On the screen, here's the result for Hamilton County over the past 3 presidential elections. It has gone steadily toward the blue team. And specifically in 2024, Kamala Harris got, 42% of the, 57% of the vote. I think her vote tally in Corey in the city was even higher than that. What do you see it right now? Because right now, you're a serious underdog.
Yeah, well, here's the thing that we're hearing from people, because we talk to people on the streets, and a lot of times people ask, are you Republican or are you Democrat? But what we have stayed true to is we're running this on city issues. I don't believe that public safety is a partisan issue. I believe that all people want safe streets, and I believe when it comes to our decaying infrastructure and how the budget is being spent, I think this is something that crosses all aisles, and that's what we're running this campaign on. And right now, the momentum is on our side because people need change. They want to see a difference, and I believe that in November we're going to see great results.
I want to share a picture of your local church. You know, looking at windows and found this bullet hole. You don't know when it happened, but it's there, and it kind of puts a fine point on crime being number one. Does your family association, does that help you or hurt you in that city?
Well, I'm never going to be ashamed of the relationship I have with my brother. I mean, what an amazing testimony of his life coming from poverty and seeing him rise to be vice president of the United States. You know, so from that aspect, I'm never going to be ashamed of that. But I believe that we're living in a culture right now to where everything is very polarizing. Like I said, with this race for the city and many other cities across America, we have to focus on city issues. We have to stop copying and pasting national politics on what really needs to be glorified custodians at city halls all across America. Just keep the streets clean and safe and spend the money wisely.
Corey, thanks for coming on. We'll watch it closely. 13 days to go. You've got an uphill climb. We'll see how it goes. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you for having me.
You bet.
Hey, before we go real quick, candy corn's a Halloween staple, but it's also controversial. Some see it as more tricks than treats. Instacart broke it down by state. Folks are bubbling it up in Mississippi, Nebraska, and Kentucky. But in Hawaii, California, Florida, trick-or-treaters are taking a pass. Where do you stand?
Nice. I love
Thank you.
it.
That was definitely Campano style. I can do it too. Harris Foster is next.
We begin with this Fox News alert. Threatening violence against federal officers is against the law, and it is dangerous for anyone around them. Have to start that way today because the threat against federal officers is growing. In Los Angeles, officials are saying an illegal immigrant rammed his car into several federal vehicles while trying to escape a traffic stop yesterday. Agents then opened fire in self-defense, and one U.S. Marshal and the suspect were wounded. Both went to the hospital, expected to survive.
You're right. You both were.
Focus. Critics have repeatedly called out the left's rhetoric against immigration enforcement, while attacks like the one you just saw continue. Here is acting Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director Todd Lyons.
There are so many elected officials that call for resisting ICE, pushing back, defying ICE, that almost daily we have 2 to 3 of these ramming incidents, which is a deadly force. You know, and it's putting our officers and agents at risk. The men and women of ICE are being targeted for just doing their law enforcement mission, and it's coming from elected officials, and it has to stop.
Deadly force on ICE agents. The Homeland Security Department is calling out Democrat leaders for fanning the flames of what's happening. And now it's naming names. Representatives Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Dan Goldman, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, California Governor Gavin Newsom on the list. They all posted ways to help illegals evade ICE agents. In other words, helping them break the law, in addition to already breaking it by coming into America illegally. And they mix in rhetoric like this.
These authoritarian actions by authoritarian governments.
The question is, if everything is legitimate and proper, why are you wearing masks?
They are expanding ICE to a level that is unseen and unheard of in American history.
This is such a tragic moment in our history. I believe that they have been dosing the American people so that this becomes normalized behavior.
Dosing them? She thinks there's drugs involved? Okay. Matt Finn in Los Angeles with more. Matt.
Harris, the Justice Department says the illegal immigrant from Mexico is 44-year-old Carlitos Ricardo Farias. He's in custody, charged with assault on a federal officer. Agents say Farias was their target in an immigration enforcement yesterday near downtown LA. Agents say they boxed in the suspect's car, and then he ran his vehicle into two agents' cars, spun his tires, spewing smoke, and sent rubber flying into the air, hitting agents who also worried the car would dislodge and strike them. The feds say Farias refused to comply. Ultimately, an agent opened fire, hitting Farias in the elbow. A bullet ricocheted and struck U.S. Marshal. Both are expected to be okay. Now, we take a look at the front driver tire of the suspect's car. In one of the pictures released by the feds, it appears the suspect spun his tire so rapidly, the front driver tire shredded into the ground. Activists gathered at the hospital where Farias and the officer were being treated, and even after this dangerous encounter, one activist seemed to encourage armed people to resist ICE.
No.
And I don't say that because we're hard to violence. I'm saying that because the people have every right to defend
What's up? What's up?
unidentified gunmen with AR-15s and other military.
One running.
Farias is a well-known TikToker, a big following, who trails agents and documents immigration enforcement. Earlier this year, the suspect was recognized by LA City Council for his videos, and Harris DHS was quick to point out dangerous attempts to evade arrest come after sanctuary politicians, out webinars, and provided resources on how to resist ICE.
Grab up armor.
Matt, thank you. I have something else to add to this, so this is new. Congressman Robert Garcia, Democrat out of California, at a news conference has announced
In here.
that there
Money
is a
here.
plan to launch a master ICE tracker on their website. So this would be a state, like a congressional website, if you will, with a master ICE tracker on the website. The name again, Congressman Robert Garcia, a Democrat out of California. So mix in that with all the threats against ICE agents and anybody around them, whether it's local law enforcement, you heard Tom Homan say in the program last week, anybody who's near them is in danger when people come after those federal agents, especially if they have to defend themselves. Can you even imagine the position this puts them in for doing their jobs? And now you're going to track them.
In addition
to doxing them,
so you only got 3 protecting.
This is a lot. Well, all of the violence in Los Angeles is just the latest in a string of attacks on federal immigration enforcement. Earlier this month, rioters in Chicago threw bottles and rocks and smoke bombs at agents. Those riots began after 2 illegal aliens rammed their car into agents' vehicles. So this is a thing. And remember, they're calling it deadly force. If you ram your car into somebody and potentially kill them. Last month, shot another after opening fire at that Dallas facility with the goal, apparent goal, of killing agents. around at the scene had the phrase anti-ICE written right on that bullet casing. Over the summer, a rioter appeared to fire a gun during a chaotic raid on a cannabis farm in California. Agents were forced to use smoke bombs when the crowd got more and more. Sadly, that's far from an exhaustive list. But instead of urging de-escalation, many on the left are continuing their dangerous rhetoric.
Before you become a problem.
Look, Senator, I don't know if you just heard, but when you add in on a congressional website, you can see Robert Garcia knows how this looks. A tracker on ICE agents. I mean, that's like a hit list.
Yeah, and Harris Garcia doesn't have the ability to track these ICE agents, but what he's saying is reckless rhetoric, which is continuously coming from the left. I mean, they're calling for violence, they're not even hiding it, and all they do is they make the case for President Trump to send the National Guard in. Remember, the National Guard has the ability to protect the assets of the federal government. They're not on the streets arresting people, but they can protect the federal assets. Humans are federal assets. These ICE agents are federal assets to the United States. They are hunting federal fugitives, which are illegals. They're not state fugitives, they're federal fugitives. They have the right to go out there and arrest. At the same time, the property, the vehicles, the property, and the personnel,
Sorry, dude.
National Guard
I had to
has
pick
the
up
right
some money.
to protect, and they're following right into why President Trump is deploying National Guard. And it's absurd what they're trying to do here.
Yeah. You know what? I do want to put a fine point on it. So Congressman Robert Garcia is lying when he says he can track people who work with ICE. Well, I
That's
guess
absolutely true.
that's when a lie is a blessing. But what you're saying is he's willing to put that false information out there and make people afraid or potentially incite them to do something dangerous to someone else. I mean, it's disgusting.
It is. Now, what he could do is he could put ICE facilities on his website, which isn't overly known. A lot of times they don't have they don't have DHS or ICE facilities outside of it. There's a lot of FBI headquarters, Secret Service. No, it's absolutely not. It becomes national security, and we would have to do. I would suggest, I'm in the Senate, but I would suggest the House.
First, I'm gonna rob your ass. Jennifer. Wherever you.
Harm were to come to any infrastructure or personnel that works in the facility that he would expose.
Boom!
Move to this, a chaotic
Worker dress.
scene right here in New York City when protesters decided to clap for ICE agents during an operation targeting the sale of counterfeit goods and other products. News conference.
This wasn't about public safety. This was about targeting communities. And so we want people to be clear, as much as we continue to say, none of this is about public safety. It is about fear and chaos.
There is no excuse for sending military-style vehicles and a national law enforcement response to street fighting.
New York City mayoral candidates also had something to say about it. Democrat, socialist, and communist Zoran Mamdani blamed the Trump administration's authoritarian theatrics. Those were his words. Independent Andrew Cuomo called it an abuse of federal power and more about fear than justice. Those are his words. Republican Curtis Sliwa's campaign said organized counterfeit rings are hurting law-abiding merchants. Wow. What an interesting debate the next one will be. Now back to you, Senator. What do you say about this? I mean, there's a long list of the crimes, the people that they were going after. It's not hard to trace why ICE showed up.
Selling counterfeit merchandise is illegal. Not to mention it is stealing revenue from the company itself, plus tax revenue from the municipality to which it's being sold. Once again, the federal agencies were doing their job. By the way, Secret Service actually has a relevance on going after counterfeit merchandise too. Not much less if the individual themselves is illegal. They are federal fugitives. And if we're not going to enforce and make laws, then we need to lawless nation. And I think the issue is what is this? This is why the Democratic popularity with the American people is at the lowest it's ever been, because they can't rationalize their position.
We all know how that ended.
Interested in protecting criminals than they are protecting law-abiding citizens in their own community.
Look, I'm looking at the people who are gathered around in this video and many others that we see. You know, they're willing to get physical with these agents. And you want to know why it looks like they sat down with so many people. Tom Homan has told me, and from DHS, their representatives have told me that they have to have larger numbers now because of the physicality that's pressed upon them. Your last quick word.
Which, once again, this makes the point why President Trump needs to deploy these National Guard members. Even though I hate it for disrupting the National Guard members themselves, there is a federal role, and we have seen this in the civil rights movement, all the way with JFK.
I wonder if I pick this up, is it going to kill me or is it going to...
National Guard has been used to protect federal agents and federal property in time of disturbance. This is why there probably has to be a larger deployment of National Guard to protect federal agents from doing their job, or to be able to let them do their job.
Senator Mullen, thank you for being in focus.
Thank you, Harris.
Political violence and hateful rhetoric, a growing problem, and it was on full display in Virginia this time. A football fan shouted this at the Republican candidate for governor who you see here. Listen. He's shouting, and some of what he's saying, go back to Haiti. Winston Earl Sears has plenty to say about that. She's running to be the next governor of Virginia. She's with me in focus next. Plus, Democrats are getting very jittery about neck-and-neck bellwether battles. Actually, Virginia's one of the ones we're watching. They're calling in the A-listers in both Virginia and New Jersey. Some doubt it will matter much, though, at this point.
Bringing in, the political elite, the political...
It's a hotel week. Have 3 women left. I hope they ask me the hard questions.
Are you in love with my mom?
I don't know.
But does she love you?
Documentary called The Perfect Neighbor. Examines a crime that we talked about here several years ago on The View. We spoke with the mother and son of A.J. Owens, who was shot and killed by a neighbor with a history of harassing neighborhood kids. It was a killing that put the stand your ground laws under the microscope. Take a look.
911 was the address of the emergency. Someone picked up really loud screaming.
Trespassing. I'm not really walking home. There doesn't need to be a false turn every time a kid's playing in the yard.
She's always messing with people's kids.
Some backup. My power view says y'all are bad motherfuckers.
I think it's the most heart-wrenching experience or documentary I've ever seen. We don't read the story here at the table, and I've followed Pam because that's Ajika's mom, AJ, the woman that was told her mom's story, and the
no, basically all you gotta do is hey, boy, do the thing.
Everyone to check it out. It's number one on Netflix. It's had over 16.7 million views, and there's a reason for that. It added faces and names and relationships to what we found there. What we saw from a national news perspective and thought was clarified to an undeniable level, and to see this vile, awful human being, and I say that carefully, this woman was a vile, awful, racist human being that literally had so much hate in her heart that you get it in small doses from the perspective of law enforcement. So this isn't a he said, she said, and sorry, Sunny, to see the law enforcement's relationship with this neighborhood and these children. It's not what you think it's going to be, and it is so powerful.
It's very scary to see that some places like Florida have what they call this
scared to stand your ground, and that the woman has a
Not
gun
me
and
to
she
the
shoots
team.
through a metal door.
And she was researching stand your ground laws before committing.
Yeah. She already knew that she might get away with it, but I won't do it in the end.
Well, that was a big part of Trayvon Martin's murder, the stand your ground law. You know, what I found really heart-wrenching is that there was black mother whose kids were constantly targeted by this white woman because this was a racial bias crime. And she went, I want to ask you something. Do you think that if those kids were white, she wouldn't have been so...
It was mixed kids.
It was
the kids in the neighborhood were all mixed race.
Because I found her to be racist. She was racist. She had a particular problem with these kids. And she used the N-word according to the... Yes, she did. To the kids. And so for me, what was interesting was this mother, young mother, AJ, went to the door so that she could speak to her neighbor and say, this is my child. He belongs to someone. He is loved. And get his iPad back. And she shot her through the door in front of her son. As a mother of black children, I know that black boys are not given the presumption of innocence and the presumption of youth. She's calling the police and saying they're trying to steal a car and they're 11 years old. They don't know how to drive. And so for me, what was interesting was I have had to be in a position where I have gone to my local police department because I know my son is going to be training for the Junior Olympics running around the neighborhood in an all-white neighborhood. And I have gone into the police and said, he belongs to me. This is my son. Do not harass him. Do not stop him. So she was doing what so many black mothers do, and she was killed for protecting her child.
And by the way, it is the best case for police wearing body cam. Yes, it is. Your stories pieced back together from the perspective of the police. And we see instances where law enforcement gets this wrong. This was them time and time getting it right. The entire community stood with AJ every time there was a frivolous call made. We want kids outside playing. We want them playing, not on TikTok, not out committing crimes or doing whatever. We want them to be kids. And time again, the police gave good advice, sound advice. Go to your mother, tell her, and this woman plotted and committed the crime. I wish it was more than manslaughter, but that is 25 years is what they could convict her.
They do their thing.
What I said about this, because we have to go, is that we were lucky that the police had their body. This happens in neighborhoods all over this country, and you don't hear about it. Or you do hear about it, and someone tells you, that's just a complaint. Oh, they're always saying, that's not it at all. We see that neighborhoods can get along with this. You're being told that they can and that it doesn't happen. It does happen. If you haven't seen this, it doesn't matter what color you are. This could be your child. It doesn't matter. You need to see this. And remember, when people are telling you this is what's happening, listen to them. There's a complaint being made that people ignore and think, oh, that's just, how black people are. They're always... This is beyond black people. This is into some horrible stuff that we have opened the door to.
No, you don't. You let them take all the risks, and you get the reward. Bada bing, bada boom.
False positive and negative results may occur. It is not for those at high risk. Skip the drama. Ask your provider or request Cologuard online.
Yep, your worst nightmare. Your car broke down. Now you're worried if it's going to cost you a fortune in repair bills. Unless you already called CarShield, the legit #1 auto protection company in the country. When you're protected with a plan through CarShield, the process is smooth like ice and done in as little as 3 steps. 1. First, the tow truck takes your car to the shop. The cost of towing covered when you got a plan through CarShield. Next, you probably need to get around while your vehicle's being repaired, right? 2. Plans through CarShield have rental car options too. Here comes the best part. 3. When you pick up your vehicle, you don't have a big repair bill to worry about. CarShield administrators get your cover repairs paid directly to the shop, so you're back on the road with no worries. Call now to get an affordable plan through CarShield for your vehicle before it's too late. When you call CarShield, whether you got a small problem like a power window motor that could cost a few $100s,
or a big problem, like an engine or transmission that could cost you thousands of dollars, you're taken care of. CarShield is the #1 auto protection company in the country, and their administrators have paid out more than $1 billion in auto repairs. That's billion with a B. CarShield is the choice that gives you the CarShield guarantee. Your rate never goes up, and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Look, it's inevitable. As your car or truck ages, the parts and components are gonna fail. It's not worth the risk. Call CarShield now.
Wait until your car breaks
The
down.
fuck are you supposed to drop this shit out that?
CarShield for coverage on up to 5,000 parts and get the CarShield guarantee, where your rate never goes up and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Call 800-621-1185. 800
I could.
1185.
Liquid gel with liquid cooler reactivates your natural gut rhythm overnight.
But I'd rather do this.
Amazing. New Double X liquid gel. That's why I always recommend all three clear for sensitive skin. It's free of dyes and perfume. It's a key part of my self-care routine, and it's gentle for my skin and hers too. For an effective clean that's gentle on skin, all you need is all three clear. With depression, it feels like every day you're just going through the motions. But what if you could get your go back? Auvelity works fast. Sometimes relief in as early as 1 week. Auvelity lasted. On average, significant relief was seen at 6 weeks. Antidepressants may increase suicidal thoughts and actions in young adults. Tell your doctor about sudden changes to new thoughts or behavior. Don't take Auvelity if you have a history of seizure, eating disorder, or have abruptly stopped drinking alcohol, or taking benzodiazepines, barbiturates, or anti-seizure medicine. Serious allergic reactions can occur. Don't take if you are allergic to dextromethorphan, bupropion, or any of the ingredients in Auvelity. Don't take with MAOIs. High blood pressure, manic episodes, serious eye problems, and dizziness can occur. Report all medicines you take to avoid a life-threatening condition. Don't take Auvelity if you are or may become pregnant. Side effects can include dizziness, headache, diarrhea, feeling sleepy, dry mouth, sexual function problems, and excessive sweating. Ask your provider about Auvelity. Go with Auvelity.
50 years is your new favorite comedy. And with a season of big guest stars along for the ride, you just can't look away.
You're actually flipping me off with your eyes.
50 years, tonight on ABC.
No, I can't.
Is pulling a double duty these days on the hit FX series The Lowdown and on the big screen in the new movie Blue Moon. He transforms into iconic lyricist Lorenz Hart, Rogers and Hart. You know, that's why you know the name. And he's trying to find the words to express how he feels. Take a look.
I feel like I can't see people clearly.
I wrote a song once years ago called The Heart is Quicker Than the Eye. It's not a great song, but it's a good title and it's true. I think the head has nothing to do with the madness of love. And it doesn't matter at all about worthiness, does it? We invest our hearts in worthless stocks, and we know they're worthless, but we cling to them like little children clutching little stuffed bears. Oh, Elizabeth, tell me truthfully, how do you feel about me?
You got it. Be real shortly.
You guys are amazing. I'm so grateful for all of you.
Yeah, we're grateful for you, baby. And
you had to do a come over. I had to shave my head and do a come over. I know. It's not my most really work. But I was, you know.
Let's do a hot topic.
About Trump wanting $230 million at the Department of Justice.
Is anybody here old enough to remember when Obama gave up his farm to make sure he didn't have conflict of interest? Because he wanted to protect the farmers and didn't want to see integrity. And it's starting to show the lack of it. It's pretty obvious.
Starting? Well, Ethan, you and Whoopi both have November birthdays. She's got a birthday coming up. I'm happy birthday. Do you get reflective of one another in your passes?
Well, I think you might feel the same. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be alive. I made a big deal out of my 52nd because I like to play politics. And so I had a big poker night. But I just got absolutely hammered. I know I didn't mind it. So since then I've been trying to be a little more circumspect about it.
It's me.
I'm so glad to see you in this part. Just because he's an unsung hero. In the new film, Your Magnificence Unite, film with director Richard Linklater. It's set in the legendary Sardi's restaurant in 1943 on the opening night of the musical Oklahoma. And you play legendary lyricist Lorenz Hart. People might not recognize the name, but that's why I explained it. The Source, tell us about him.
All right, well, you have to understand, Rodgers and Hart, for people that don't know, some people who care about jazz, I'm sensing from the way you introduced it that you do. Rodgers and Hart were on the cover of Time magazine. In their era, they were Lennon and McCartney. They were huge. They were bigger than life. And this tonight captures kind of the moment you might imagine Lennon and McCartney are breaking out. One of them is going to start a band that's going to be 4 times bigger than the Beatles, and the other one is going to die. My character is the person who is about to die of heart. And the world is transitioning. We're right in the middle of the war. America is starting to see itself in the third person and write things like the musical. They're selling a myth.
Yeah.
Oklahoma is not really the story of Oklahoma. My character's line seems like you're nostalgic for a world that never existed. But it sells, and it's fun, and we all love it. And he knows it's going to be a huge hit, and he knows the jazz era is being left behind, and he knows he's going out with that tie. And so it's a really heartbreaking story. The director is brilliant, the writer is brilliant, and the actor tries to pull his weight. But yeah, I had to, Hart was a very diminutive man. And it's a big part of his personality. He kind of can't stop talking because he feels like if he doesn't talk nonstop, no one will see him. So I had to be like, I'm going to go on and have to shake my head. It's very, it was a tough.
I'm writing that down.
What?
If he doesn't stop talking, no one will see him. So many in this film. I mean, you were completely in hell.
My director had the same say. He directed me 9 times. So he would say, your job here is I don't want to see. He's like, I've been looking at you my whole life. He's like, so every time I do a take, you're just going to go, that was my job. It's just disappear.
Fantastic. Bobby Cannavale, Andrew Scott, Margaret's in it. Your performance is just, it's fantastic. You totally disappeared to the sky, emotionally, physically. It's already garnering Oscar buzz, I heard. And you've been acting since you were 14.
Yep.
And you've been nominated before. You know this business. What does it feel like to be getting this kind of attention at this point in your career?
It feels like a win to be in the kind of conversation. I love this art form so much. I've never read back to it.
Yeah.
And to be in the game and be still participating and trying to offer something meaningful, the chance to do that feels like a win. You know?
Yeah.
Just so I don't take it lightly. I don't know that I ever really did. I always loved it, and I didn't take it for granted. But it's even sweeter now.
Yeah. You've always worked for everything.
Not just nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, yo.
Can't say that.
I will be right back with more. Stay tuned. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications because we're about to go against the boss. I don't want to make this video too long. So thank you for watching. We'll see you in a bit. Peace.